Okay, and so today I'm going to talk about how to play various forms of scales in the same position, in fifth position basically. So if we start off with our basic pentatonic minor, we can also think about, well, if our first finger is on A, then our pinky is on C. So if we start from C, then it becomes pentatonic major. So that connection between the first finger and the pinky is a minor third. So basically that gives us the relative minor to the major key. So either C major or A minor, right? So we can apply that principle to other scales as well. So if we start off with doing the blues scale, so that would be an A minor blues scale, okay? So if we start from A again, that gives us a sharp 4 in A. So we have, the 1, the flat 3, the 4. Also, you add a sharp 4. So a blues scale is exactly like a pentatonic minor, but you just add one note. So it's a 6-note scale as opposed to a 5-note scale. So we add that sharp 4 from the perspective of the minor, which in this case is a D sharp if we're in the key of A minor. There's D, D sharp, and then you get it again here. So you see guitarists kind of doing that a lot in this position because you go, so it becomes like in line with this minor third stretch between the 5th and the 8th fret. Also, if you bend up, you're hitting that D sharp also, if you think of it that way. So now if we start from the pinky, we have the blues major scale. Right, so that would be C major blues, right? And then just one other thought with the blues scale, you can also add additional notes to it, like you can add a second and notes that also make it like a minor scale, so it's more notes added to it like that, but not always necessary. The basic blues scale is just a pentatonic with the added sharp 4. So if we take a look at the scales based around A minor, so we have A natural minor, that also connects to C major. So if we start from this note right here, it's going to be a C major scale. Right? So basically the whole idea here is we can channel the minor or major position of any key just by thinking of, if my first finger is on the minor position, my pinky is going to be on the major position. Okay? So the minor scale for A minor is the same thing as C major if you start from the pinky, so same concept, okay? So another thing I like to think about is you can also apply this to the modes of major as well. So if we think of A Dorian, we kind of think of that as a replacement for the minor scale. So if you're playing over a minor 7 chord, you're going to want to play A Dorian pretty much always, right? So you get a natural 6 in that scale. So that note right there is your natural 6 for A. Okay, so basically that's a F sharp, right? Okay, in the key of A minor, right? So if we think of Dorian as the second mode of a major key, right? So basically we're going to think, well, if we go from Dorian, skip over Phrygian, and then we have Lydian next, right? Okay. So if we play that same shape starting from here, that we did for the Dorian scale, right? Then we get a C Lydian scale, okay? So it's kind of cool because a lot of times if you're going to be playing in a Dorian kind of sound, you're going to also want to play Lydian when the chords go to major, or like a major 7 chord specifically. So it's kind of cool to know, oh, Dorian's here, Lydian's here, just like minor and major, right? So it's all within one shape. Now, I also still like to play like a Lydian scale on its own with its own shape and stuff, but I think in the beginning it's kind of cool to understand how those connect by skipping over that Phrygian mode between Dorian and Lydian. So the Dorian and Lydian scales are commonly used in jazz because they work really well over a minor 7 chord, so A minor 7 would have A Dorian, okay? Or C major 7 would have a C Lydian scale over it, right? And you can also apply the same concept to the Phrygian scale, and then that leads up to the Mixolydian scale. So if I'm on A Phrygian, I'm going to have C Mixolydian, okay? And the shape for that scale would be this. So that's going to be A Phrygian, okay? And if I take that and start from here, same concept. That is a C Mixolydian scale because I am skipping from Phrygian, we're skipping over Lydian, then we're at Mixolydian, you know? So it's just like skipping over scales and playing, in a sense, the relative major or minor, but we're using the modes as a replacement for that, so we get like a little bit of different sounds, okay? So the reason that I find this useful is because you're all in one position, so it's kind of simple to start from this, and then you can kind of think, oh, if I just alter this one note, I can still play solos in this position that I'm comfortable with, but I know what notes I'm playing and I can alter that one note. So a very common example is to use the Dorian, the natural 6, the F sharp, as opposed to playing an F, a flat 6. You're gonna have a natural 6. So if I'm doing, you know, in a lot of circumstances, I'm actually going to choose to play a Dorian scale instead of a natural minor scale. The Dorian scale works really nicely along with pentatonic and blues stuff, so you kind of have more leeway with that scale, whereas a natural minor scale is very determined as a minor. It's very natural minor sounding, it's very specific sounding. Okay? So you hear that a lot in classical, that kind of stuff, you know. So that's basically all there really is to it. You know, you can add all kinds of chromatic notes all over the place. You know, my guitar teacher growing up would call them hot potato notes. So he said, you can play any note within a position here. You can play any note really. Basically, you're just going to not hold on to those notes too long. So it's like hot potatoes, right? So you don't hold on to that weird note like for a super long time. It's like a passing tone, or you can play around a note and stuff like that. So basically you can do anything, but it's nice to know what you're doing because then you can intentionally play certain notes and really have a specific sound, and you know why it works. So it's kind of fun.